road was closed. The fire basically was all the way along both sides. You can see all the signs. I've taken a few photos of signs that are just melted, you know. The signs are on the side of the road. You think they're in the clear. Just goes to show how hot these fires get. Absolutely crazy. Some of these areas just totally, I mean, this isn't totally, there's a bit of green here, there's a few patches missed here and there, but there's places that are just totally like a desert, except for what's left of the, you can see straight through. On the ground there's nothing, just down to there's nothing left. You can walk across it barefooted virtually, you know. This area here, not quite like that, there's a lot of debris on the ground, so obviously burns at different temperatures in different areas, but a little bit for you to have a look at anyway. We just headed to Mallacoota. Yeah, so it's really amazing amount of work they've done to get the roads reopened, because literally goes like this for hundreds of kilometres, and you know, there's a whole heap of trees obviously near the side of the road. Some of the, you know, some have come down. You can see they've damaged the silly wire rope barriers. They've also damaged the guardrail and stuff like that. And look, you can see crews still here working. Hopefully they can make some use out of some of this timber. Seems to be a waste to say, oh no, don't cut this down, don't cut that down, and then, oh yeah, it looks like they're making use of the logs, so that's good, some sort of positive. So yeah, they've got a fair clearing down each side of the road, obviously, because when it gets burnt this badly, a lot of those are going to drop over time, so they probably need to clear a decent each side of the road, and there's just a ton of timber lying there. You just think, yeah, hopefully they can make some use of it.
Another one lost.
Yeah, so they got a fair crew still here working along the sides, excavators and that, moving logs out the way. And as I said, this area here, not too bad. I mean, it's bad enough, but there's still a lot of green in these trees, so it kind of burnt underneath the trees here, which must have, I don't know, must have been that windy that just tore through underneath, or anyway, I'm just trying to figure it out myself. But anyway, there you go, bit of a view of the Princess Highway between, I suppose, Bem River and Can River. I think that's where we are. A bit relaxed, I'm not too sure exactly where we are. Somewhere there. This is the road into Mallacoota. I think we're about, I don't know, 10 k's out. Only road in and out. And obviously heavily treed and well and must be some people getting out here. Interesting to have a look around. And the other interesting thing is, I haven't figured it out yet, but I haven't seen that many bushfire affected areas, but the trees are quite often black. Some areas there is a mix of black and the natural colour. I don't know if it's they didn't get burned as bad or the bark got burnt and the trees look like a bit like here. See how the trees are all, maybe they only got burnt at the bottom. So in other areas it's been where the trees are black all the way to the top, but the odd one is its natural colour. So I don't know, but it's still bare like it got burnt. So anyway, bit of scenery for you so you can have a look and see what it's like. If you haven't yet come to have a look out to any bushfire affected areas yourself, and of course I'd suggest you do get out, have a look. It's very different. Just obviously be careful, there is a lot of people out here and pulled off the side of the road looking at things and probably taking photos and that. The signs, you know, here you go, have a look at these signs, those yellow ones, fourth one in, cooked. Yeah, this bloke's on the wrong side of the double line, but anyway, we can dive off into the left gutter if we need to. Yeah, very clear compared to how it was before. Anyway, we'll keep cruising in, and if there's, we'll take a few other photos and that and just whack it all together and put it up. And if you're watching this, that's probably what you've seen so far. It's regenerating really quickly. There's a lot of, I don't know if you can see in the video, the green, the growth coming back on the trees. So someone else can, I'm sure, can explain how that all works. I will keep cruising.
For 3 kilometers.
So even just coming into Mallacoota, you can see the fire all on the outskirts, all the residences on the outside of town. Just heavily treed, those gum trees. You can't be living in bunches of gum trees like that. It needs to be clear, but it looks like coming into all the main area, you know, early days at the moment, but it looks like 90% all good. And of course the fire didn't make it all the way down to the water. It was just on the outskirts. Quite a lot of burnt trees, caravans, boats, cars, and a few homes as well. Probably more than a few, but just on that road, main road we came in on. Looks alright down here though. So there's a whole heap of empty sites down on the foreshore. This is at Mallacoota. For anyone that hasn't been here, show you around a little bit. Popular fishing area, and obviously you can do some other water sports too. You can have a picnic. Come down the picnic table. In town's pretty quiet, so seems to be just a few locals around. I wouldn't say there's any tourists at all really. A few people driving in and out looking around, but yeah, very quiet. So I'll give you a bit of a view of how quiet it is. So remember, it is February, it's a weekend here. That's the foreshore park. There's one van there, it's got long grass around it. I think something's gone wrong there, and that's why it's still there. So basically there's no one on that foreshore area. I can't see anyone in town anywhere, anything, just the locals, you know, at the pub having a beer. This is the inlet here, right? Well, part of it, and obviously in places opens up in different weather conditions, like most river systems. At times the ocean will push the sand up and close it off, and then at other times, once the water in here, a lot of rain sort of thing, high tides and rain, and it builds up and then it pushes through and opens it up and all the water flows out, and it'll stay open for a while. But in this case, I think the inlet over here, it may always be open. I don't know a lot about this one. I know as much as you at the moment. That's why I'm sharing it for those people that know as much as me. I'm sure there's people, once again, that know more. So just showing you there, it's pretty cool. We'll head around and try and have a bit more of a look around there. That's obviously the actual inlet. One thing I suppose I was getting a little bit tired of is hearing about all these quiet towns that are bushfire affected. And you go out there, and some of them are quiet, but a lot of them are really busy. Mallacoota is a town that on the weekend that would or could normally be busy is certainly very quiet at the moment. So consider visiting all these towns further out of Melbourne and obviously Sydney and other places, you know. It is a bit of a bigger trip, take a few days. It's worthwhile, nice areas, and check it out, support the local community. Amazing, really. You got this on one side of the road, and then you cross the road here and the ocean. So yeah, fire burnt all the way to the edge. Okay, next beach. This fire, it's just jumped straight across, you know, there's wide open paddocks and it's made it to these trees at this side. So just amazing, really. Yeah, next beach, next bit of burnt bush fire. Even the car park, you know, there's copped a bit of damage. So right there you've got fire, that's burnt. Then you've got a bit of green. If you look, this structure got saved. Okay, so no fire whatsoever, but then right below us, burnt on the ground. So it's quite patchy in a lot of areas all the way through, quite patchy. Some are just burnt solid, some are just the sort of down the bottom's burnt, and obviously some of it all the way to the top. So beach. So we're coming down these steps, a little bit burnt on one side, not too bad on the other, but even these timbers in the ground, fairly burnt. So even there's this green grass fire break and car park, the hot embers blowing off these trees easily just came across that amount of grass and burnt this last little bit of brush along the side, which is what we saw driving along the road. Actually, there's a whole heap of areas where the paddocks were clear, and but there was just, you know, the bush along the side of the road between the private property and the road. And that's what carried a lot of the fire into other areas, I think, because there's nothing else to burn. It's just that bush between the road and the private property. Anyway, amazing. And it was hot enough to burn out all this timber and for the little jetty to fall in. Just from a bit of scrub, you know what I mean? I hope you understand what I'm saying. So, you know, it's all bushland, what, 20 metres away, car park, grass, a few bushes here, not much. And those bushes burnt enough to, you know, set this whole thing on fire and kaflooey into the water. Anyway, amazing. Just amazing sights out here. If you like walking, Mallacoota is an awesome place to visit. There's a heap of these pathways that you can go and walk along the coastline and explore. And of course some awesome lookouts too. Once again, not that much burnt around here. There's a lot of green, but the few trees that did were right next to the house. If you live around a bush area that could and will one day be part of a bushfire, because that's what happens, you need to make sure you've got a clearing is your best bet. You can't have trees, flammable trees, right next to your structures. Unfortunately. Obviously people don't know that, so spread the word. If you're out there or if you know anyone, make sure you've got a good clearing to anything you want to keep. It doesn't guarantee it, but if you use fireproof materials and you have your sprinkler set up and everything you need to do, if you live in these sort of areas, you've got much better chances, because this is just sad, you know. What a waste. I believe could all be prevented. Like I said, just here, it's all quite green. There's only a few things that burnt. And if those trees weren't there next to the house, it'd probably still be there.